Hi, Alan.
Yes.
Jon Bon Jovi.
Hey, John, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Good to talk to you again.
Thank you. What's happening?
Well,
It's Wilkes-Barre today.
Wilkes-Barre is probably not, if you're in Jersey, I don't know if you are or not, probably not much different.
Okay. It's a beautiful day here.
Yeah, here it's cool. We're really looking forward to having you here at the new arena. I know you've made our neck of the woods here a stop on your tours fairly regularly over the years.
Sure.
With the Armory and Pocono Downs and old Rocky Glen Music Hall. That was the first time I met you 15 years ago.
Wow.
But this is probably the nicest venue you've played, so it should be a good show.
Good.
I'm going to get to the questions because I know you got other interviews to do today. When you guys come together, this new record, Crush, I really like a lot. My friends and I have an expression about Bon Jovi. These guys just don't make bad records.
Oh,
They've never made a bad record.
Well, thank you. Fahrenheit sucks, but...
You thought so? See, we loved it. Stand out of love, come on.
Oh, man.
King of Mountain. When you guys do your side projects and your films and your open records, and then you decide, okay, it's time for a Bon Jovi record, how does that come about? Do you just know it's time? Is my first part of the question, and my second part of the question is, how does it go when you've been apart for this particular record 4 or 5 years?
Well, I think you do know it's time, which is what we felt both would keep the faith in this one. And in fact, with this one, we knew it was past time, and it wasn't for lack of trying. But then generally what's happened is we'll get together and yap about a direction, and what's happened both times is that I've come in with a notebook full of material that we use as the basis of what the record is. So on Keep the Faith, I had Bed of Roses and I Believe in Dry County written. On this record, I had Older and Say It Isn't So and Save the World and I Got the Girl and a bunch of those written. So that's the general feeling, and fortunately, with both those records, the band in their lives felt very similar to how I felt in mine. So with this record, there was a great sense of upbeat optimism. With Keep the Faith, I think it was a question of trying to grow as artists and wanting to be socially relevant and wondering about our own futures and having to find faith in what it was that we set out to do and then hopefully what we were about to accomplish. So there was a cautious sense of going forward at that time. But with this record, we were on top of the world in our minds, professionally and personally. Everybody was happy at home, had other outlets, and we're feeling pretty well like we had accomplished everything we ever dreamt of accomplishing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The Keep the Faith record and the These Days record were a little darker.
Yeah.
Although I love the material on those records. I think Dry County is probably one of the best songs you've ever written. And there's a song on These Days called Hearts Breaking Even, which I just love that song.
Yeah, it was pretty close. That could have been a hit. I think there's something a little weird about it, the bridge or something, the key change. But yeah, I heard that record not too long ago. I went, damn, that was a pretty good song.
That's a great song. I used to listen to it all the time when that record came out. What about your songwriting partnership with Richie? I mean, the way you just described it, you come in with lyrics and music, right?
Both.
Full
yeah,
demos?
Both of us do both. Both
Okay.
of us do both. Yeah, no, both of us have a great sense of lyric and music, so it really is not a Lennon-McCartney thing where you put each other's names on songs that you find 30 years later weren't necessarily written together. These are, when they're a collaboration, they're a true collaboration.
Okay. And when they're not, I guess they're not.
And when they're not, then they'll simply state that. With this record, I mean, there aren't any songwriting credits, but it was it was the first time we decided to be artsy and had a good album cover. I truly think it's the first good album cover we've ever had. So we liked the picture so much that we kept even the lyrics off for the first time. But that's the way it's done. Whenever we get together, like It's My Life or Thank You or whatever, the ones we've written together, they are true collaborations, start to finish.
It's My Life. I hate to say what you endure. I hate the word comeback because I saw you on the last couple tours. I saw you on the Face tour, which was a sold-out venue, and I saw you on These Days tour, playing to about 8,000 people in Scranton on a Tuesday night, which is fine. So I would never want to say you have a comeback, but it does feel like MTV and radio is more behind this record.
Oh yeah, it's true. I get it. I agree with you because I was there too. But in the general sense of the big word, that's how radio and MTV are viewing it, and that's okay. You know, whatever they want to call it. Just don't call me late for dinner. You know what I mean? I don't really care. You know, let them call it what they want. It's actually sort of a great blessing if you get to be the Santana or the Aerosmith with, you know, I don't want to miss a thing, comeback term that people want to root for you then. Great. Okay, if that's what it takes to get on the radio in L.A. again, okay, I'll do it. You know, call it what you want. There's been weird markets like that completely turned their back on us, yeah.
Is it satisfying to you then to come back into at least those markets with the...
It's certainly a relief. It makes it a lot easier to stand up and go out and tour. It makes it a lot easier to talk to you guys when I do an interview. It would have been difficult to have to defend it or to plead, you know, oh, isn't it swell that we're playing theaters again? We look forward to playing this club tonight, buddy. You know, bullshit.
Yeah.
I like playing arenas and stadiums. I'm comfortable there.
Right.
But fortunately for us, this one worked. Maybe the next one won't. I don't know, but this one did, and yeah, we're pleased.
Cool. Yeah, because I found it, as a fan of your band going back to the beginning, you know, when These Days and Faith came out, and I think I saw you guys do a concert in 1992 in Binghamton for Keep the Faith, Broome County Arena. One of the best concerts I've ever seen. Well, and this is in the middle of grunge, you know, and there's 8,000 people there on their feet for 2.5 hours screaming, and I thought, you know, what's written and what some DJ says isn't necessarily what's reflective of what's going on everywhere.
True.
You know that. Next question, John. What you guys have done here the last two records, it's kind of reminded me of what the Rolling Stones have done with your bass player.
Yeah,
he's on the
correct.
He's on the records. He's not in the publicity shots. I know that the Stones have done the same thing with Darryl Jones. Yeah. What is the status there? Why isn't he in? Why isn't he?
It's a tough thing but it's true. And Hugh McDonald is 10 times the player Alec ever was. But Alec was and will always be the bass player in the band. It was the most sacred thing in any one of our lives. It was the dream that every kid has in the mirror when he plays a tennis racket, and these guys believed in me and we accomplished it together. It's very difficult to break that circle, to get into that circle. And though Alec no longer is a member of the band, nor have we seen him, he's left the face of the earth as we know it, he, in my eyes, will always be the bass player in the band.
Okay.
And it bothers Hugh. It bothers us that it bothers Hugh, but that's just the way it is.
Okay. I never had heard you ask that question before, so I wanted.
Yeah, I have been, and it's a difficult question because Hugh is as loyal as the day is long, and he's an amazing player, and I pay him for his services, but he's an employee of the organization.
Okay. At least you're honest about it.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm definitely honest about it. I mean, it's hard for him, it's hard for us, but that's just the way it is.
What are the things, John, that you're the most proud of when you think back to the 17 or so years that this band has been making records and doing tours?
Well, I mean, that we're still here is probably the greatest thing. You know, that the basis of this band was the subject matter, and the subject matters usually fell into optimism, faith, hope, loyalty, trust, and that the band is still the band after all these years pretty much states that what we said, we weren't lying, and that we're still here talking about it in a way that relates to now a second generation of people. That's something to be pretty proud of.
Is the band, you're not the first musician that has done other things, and you know, you've gone into film and you've had success in film, and your solo records had success there. Is the band still priority one in your life, or is it an equal division?
It's equal. It's equal. It's obviously what has given us everything creative gives you the opportunity to have branched out into other mediums and at least be given a look. But then it hindered the acting career. It was not a friend. And so now acting is really important to me, but I could never quit the music business to become a movie star. I wouldn't do it. And to me, it's all about being able to do everything.
Okay. Last question for you, John. This tour comes here on November 14th.
Right.
About 2 weeks.
Right.
And I think you sold out in a couple hours, like you did at some other shows too, when they went on sale a few weeks ago. What can the fans now who haven't seen you? Last time you played here was in Scranton 5 years ago. What do you got? What do you got in store for us this time? I heard the arena almost didn't get this show because the production was so big.
Oh, really?
Is that
wow?
It might be
it's a big production. That's for sure. It is, in fact. I don't know if it's safe to say it's the biggest production, because it's probably not. Well, it's based on what was the rooftop of the Letterman show. And we played on the top of the Ed Sullivan Theater. It inspired our crew to come up with the concept that this would look like that. And the New York skyline is emulated in what I'm told is the biggest indoor video presentation yet by anybody. Or so I'm told. I'm not going to North Carolina today. But it will encapsulate a career. We'll be playing all the hits, but it'll be 60-40 with the new record. But people that know this band know that its roots are in being a kind of an energetic live rock and roll band. Much like my own heroes, you know, you try to make people leave there exhausted.
Right.
You know, include them in what you do and leave them tired. So I feel healthy. I'm feeling like, you know, a prize fighter ready to go to war. You know.
Great.
That's good fun.
John, we're looking forward to it. I really appreciate you calling.
Yeah, thank you, Al.
And I'll make sure you get a copy of the article.
Good.
It'll probably go on Wire, so maybe you'll be reading it around the country.
Fantastic.
All right?
That's great. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Bye.